You're listening to In Sickness, a caregiving podcast from the negative space with Allison Breininger and Justin Bima. Good morning, Allison.
Hi, Justin. How are things in your world?
Nothing really to report.
Okay.
Things have been kind of steady as they have been. We're just working our way through fall. It feels like it's very foggy this morning, which feels very autumnal. So I'm looking forward to that. I have the fireplace on.
Yeah, I can see your fireplace behind you. That's lovely.
Things are feeling cozy, which is good. So
yeah.
But yeah, it's been a slow week. We've both been a little tired, and so just kind of taking it easy, and that's been lovely. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
How are things going over there?
Yeah, pretty awful. Yeah, pretty bad in all the ways.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I don't even know. What did I even last say? Basically the new thing, there's a new spot in his mouth, and then he needs surgery for that. And that is scheduled for October 9th. But then this weekend we were at the Fanconi Anemia Conference. Okay. And part of that is that they do research on folks. And they looked in his mouth, and then they saw 4 new concerning things that were not there like a week and a half ago.
Oh, wow.
Either they weren't there or that guy didn't see them, but that would surprise me. Both would surprise me. But so that was a super awful moment.
Yeah.
And so now we have to decide, are we going to like biopsy those or wait until the surgery and biopsy him in the surgery? So that was terrible.
Oh.
We are trying to figure out how to like optimize him going into the surgery, because the last 3 times this has happened, it's just turned into a really bad thing. And so a couple people have said like, it's the definition of insanity or whatever, right? You just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Right. And so we're like, this week is going to be full of appointments. Like he's going to get fluids twice.
Okay.
He's going to get IV IG, which is like an immune boost thing. They like measured his immune levels, and they're low. And so they're going to like boost that. And so there's all these things that we're going to try to do.
Okay.
To like optimize the situation. But we're kind of like crawling
that's
like, well,
that's terrible.
It's real bad. It's real bad. So ironically, the thing I want to talk about is exactly what just happened. Okay. Because last time you and I were together, and I almost like stopped and like had us talk about it right in that moment. But last time we were together, the same thing happened where I said, "Hey, Justin, how are you?" And then you were like, "I'm so good. Everything's good. I love everything. Everything's been good for," and it was like, "Oh, so great." Like week after week after week, you've been saying you're good. Now pause to say, of course, I am ridiculously happy for you. I hope that goes without saying, but I'm going to say it. Right.
Right.
And it's an interesting thing to have this like checkpoint with you, right? Every other week, my caregiving friend, where we say, "How are you? How are you?" And that week after week, you say, "I'm so good." And week after week, I have been saying, "I'm so bad." Yeah. And it really struck me last time. Like I really kind of had a moment of like, oh, and it just sort of felt like, well, you're my caregiving buddy. You know what I mean? And like we got into this together. And got into this because we both had this really hard thing. Yeah. And now you're doing great and I'm not. And that feels hard. Yeah.
Well, one, as a friend, I'm glad that you're bringing this up because it's good to know and talk about just for us.
Yes.
But I also think it's probably something that's great to talk about for other people. Yeah. I'm sure that this is not a singular occurrence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I thought like, I'm positive that there are people who listen, and are like, oh, wow. You know, I'm sure there are people who listen whose person has ME/CFS, like who have what Sarah, your wife, has, and are like, wow, cool. Yeah. Like they're, you know what I mean? And and I know we just want to, I'm just going to say it again. Everybody's happy for people when, you know, having good times. Right. And it's hard because it's like, we can look around the world and see lots of people having a good time.
Yes. Yeah.
And so when it's sort of like, wait, this is our little club though.
Yeah.
This is like our little club of people going through hard times. And when somebody's not going through a hard time and we are, and it can feel, I will speak for myself, it can feel, I don't know, sort of like, wait a minute. Like I thought we were in this together.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I've heard that even one time somebody said, kind of on the other end of this, was that like, I was here on the podcast saying like, I'm going through this hard thing. And that the person who was listening was like, my hard thing is so much harder than even her hard thing. And she's got this like podcast and talks about hard things. But mine's even so much harder. Where does that put me? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I know that we like 45 episodes ago or something talked about comparison.
Right.
But I think this is a different kind, right? Of comparison of like, what about when you go into it together and then paths diverge either momentarily or big picture or one of the person's passes away. You know what I mean? Like, I think that can happen when you're in this community. So, I mean, what is it as a friend? Like, what does it feel like for me to share this with you?
Yeah, I guess initially, like, I don't know, a little bit, I feel a little guilty, whether that's how I should be feeling or not, but that the way that my life is going that makes you feel bad. And I know it's not specifically how my life is doing, but the fact that like the dynamic has shifted somewhat with our friendship to some extent, or yes, it has.
Yeah.
With how our lives are. Yeah. When we first got to know each other, we were both really in the thick of things. And I mean, you still are very much so. And over the last, I don't know how many years it's been, like Sarah's in a great place now. Well, a very good place. I mean, she's still chronically ill. There's still stuff, but yeah, huge improvement from where we were when like we started this podcast. So yeah, it's hard knowing that like that causes pain. And it's also something that like specifically for like the intro to the podcast, like we just talked about, and just in general, like I've been very aware like over the years that I have less like caregiving stuff to report. Right. And for me on the other side of this, it's felt like, is this still a club I'm a part of?
Sure.
And so it is an interesting thing. And I'm sure there's lots of different areas too, where this kind of can apply to people, where it's like, we became friends over this specific thing.
Sure.
And now that's not the thing necessarily that we're both doing. Where is the connections? I don't know. There's it's an interesting thing.
Yeah. I want to pause to say, I mean, I predict.
Yeah.
And hope.
Yes.
And I'm dedicated to being friends with you for all time.
Right. Yes. I appreciate that. And the same.
Yes. So I don't feel like it's like, oh, we're in different places. Like we're not going to be friends anymore. Like that is not in any way what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I think an interesting thing is that like, if like, you know, caregiving is so full of like, well, comparisons, right? But I mean, if your life right now is so much better than it was however many years ago, and like if you compared your life now to where you thought it was going to be, or a different 40-something-year-old couple, and you would still like, you're still in the club, right?
Yeah,
like, there is still like caregiving and chronic illness is still like a really like embedded part of your day and your existence.
Yes.
You know, like your wife isn't up for much travel, or you know what I mean? You went to a concert the other night and it was like, oh, we had to leave earlier. Well, you know what I mean? Like there's still lots of things. It's just that in comparison to what it used to be, it's like night and day. Right. And so I think that's an interesting part of this, is that you might meet another person who's like, you know, oh, like so excited to talk to somebody else who's like in that club of like, oh, this is what the stage that my wife is in. Do you know what I mean? And so part of it is just that the highs and lows are so like paint the picture in that way.
Right.
But it's not as if like chronic illness is not part of your life at all. And caregiving is not part of your life at all. It's just less than it used to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because there's certainly like, if you're experiencing the same hardship together with someone, like there is a bond there that is like you understand what the person's going through, and like all of that. And not to say that if you are like myself or no longer really caregiving, that I don't still know what that is like.
Sure.
And I think that that's something that for me that I have to remember is like, yes, that's not where I am now, but I have been through that. Like
for sure.
I do have a lot to draw on there to talk about. So that's something to remember. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just, for you, like you've highlighted this as kind of a big area. These check-ins is like something that brought this up. Is there other areas where you feel this as well?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I think, even like, so we were just at this conference.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so these are people from around the world, like people coming from all the other countries to the conference. And it was in Minnesota, which is why we were able to go. It was just 20 minutes away.
Right.
And so that's a thing too. Like all these people have the same disease. And some of them are there with their parents or their spouse or whoever. And some of them are like, I mean, I was diagnosed but I've never had anything happen. I'm just living my life. And so it was an interesting thing because Sean and I was like, are we like the Debbie Downers here or are we like the realistic people? Because they were just a lot of like, just live your life and everything's fine. And we were like, you guys, this is really hard.
Yeah.
And some of it was that there are people who are in a different space, right? Or a different stage of the disease. And the disease shows up differently in everybody, right? But it was interesting that the people that I talked to who were either like have never had anything really happen or have had things happen in the past and now they're just sort of smooth sailing. They were just like, yeah, everything's good. And then there were two women I talked to. They were both mothers of people. And both of them said almost exactly something like, this is so hard. This is not what we thought life was going to be. And what choice do we have?
Yeah.
And so it was sort of this, even like in the casual conversations walking around the conference, we saw that, right? Of people like, I'm like, you people flew here from Denmark?
Right.
Like, I was like, oh, I got to pack a suitcase and drive to Minneapolis. Yeah. Like, what? Your person can like do this and this and this. You're going to go to this event that starts at 9 p.m.
Right. Yeah.
Like what? And so I think that's another space, right? Is within the same disease community,
right?
That you can see that the people have such different experiences and therefore then the caregivers have such different experiences. Yes. And sometimes we're on the same page and sometimes we aren't, right? And or it's at the same moment.
Yeah.
And other times we aren't.
Yeah.
And I think with that, there is a piece of like the people who have passed away, right? So, I'm friends with a lot of caregivers, which means I'm also now friends with a lot of people who are grievers.
Right.
And, there are times that they will say to me, Allison, I would give anything to be back in your shoes, caregiving, because it would mean my person was still here.
Right.
So I wonder for them, and I don't want to speak for them, but I wonder for them if they're like, I used to be in that club. I used to this. Yeah. Well, actually, and I will speak for one of them because she has said it in multiple settings, is that this was her community, right? She kept all the support groups and she listened to the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And now her person passed away and she's like, I can't go to that support group. Like it's too, y'all are still caregiving and I'm not. And that feels really hard.
Yeah.
But you used to be my people and it used to be my place. And now it feels like, where are my people?
Yeah.
I have to find a whole new group of people who are in this stage because I'm not in that stage anymore.
Wow. Yeah, because it takes work to find your people.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So as a quick side note, like we're hearing that and we're like doing some like focus groups and things at the negative space to be like, what's our role around bereavement? Do you know what I mean? Because we don't want to just be like, bye.
Right.
And we say like, you can keep coming to the support groups. And I get that that's complicated, right? Because you're used, it's like, those were my people. This was my place. This is where I fit in. And now I'm in a different stage.
Yeah.
So either whether it's like sort of an acute moment like you and I are having, because let's just hope that someday I get to come back and have a good report.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And there might be times that you come back and don't have a good report. Right. Like, so whether it's in an acute stage like that or a bigger stage, like a new diagnosis or a new stage or a person who passes away, like either way, it can feel like, I had this comfort thing with y'all and now I don't.
It's a whole nother thing to grieve.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not nice, but well said. Yeah. That's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Because I think, and not that this is how these relationships have to be, but there are people that are in your life and are very close, but it's for a period, right?
Yeah,
not everyone you're close to all the time is going to stay that the rest of their lives. I mean, things ebb and flow in that way. And that's, right. But that doesn't make it hard when like things shift and you're no longer as close to that person. Like there's absolutely grief there because, I mean, if you were a caregiver, part of a close knit community of other caregivers, and then your person passes, like that's a big shift because, while caregivers are often very aware of the difficulty of things going on in other people's lives, they also don't necessarily have the most energy and resources to be there and support you as much maybe in this thing that you're going through. And it could be very painful for them because they see their future there.
Sure. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of emotions on both sides, probably a lot of complications there.
Well, I think about that even like triggering for, like, I have another friend who I met through this community whose wife passed away, and he'll be like, "Oh, how are you?" Or "How was this appointment?" And I'm like, "Is this triggering for you?" Like, I don't want to because his wife and Sean were in like the same health system. Okay. Right. And so I'm like, do you really want to know about this? Because I don't, so that's a thing too, is like, if there's a person who's in a different stage, or maybe they're in a great stage and their person's still here, but they're in like a quiet stage, are they sort of like, I don't want to hear about caregiving at all, or I don't want to hear about the hard thing because that reminds me of my hard thing, so I think it just it can be complex. And so, there's lots of reasons that friendships can, go different ways. But I think this is like it's sort of like an outside, it's not just like we got busy or we don't agree on politics. It's sort of like, especially if you're either way, I would say, but especially if you're the one where you're like, man, they're fine, I'm not.
You feel like you got left behind.
Yeah.
In some ways.
Or like, wait, we were in this hard thing together and now you're living your best life. Cool. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
And I mean, I will say that I am not living my best life.
Right.
I haven't had a lot of things to report, but it's also like winter's coming up. Winter's a rough time for me, like mental health wise, a lot of times. With depression and anxiety, like that's not been smooth sailing necessarily.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, not to like, I don't know. There's still everybody still has hard things.
Yes.
Too, but it is it's different. So
yeah. Well, I wonder, something you said a minute ago about how caregivers don't have a lot of extra time and energy.
Yeah.
There is something beneficial, and I think this is true in couples too, or in friendships, of like, if I'm really going through it, and maybe you're not in this moment, then you might have more time and capacity to support me.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
And I in that position, or the former caregiver knows a lot about how to support in that situation very well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think in some ways it's kind of beautiful when that happens, right? And then it's like, if there's a time that you're having a hard time and I'm not, then I can show up. No, there's, as caregivers, often we're all in hard times and we're all still showing up for each other. But I think there can be a benefit to that, because it can also feel good sometimes for caregivers to be able to be helpful.
Yes.
Because they might be like, oh, I haven't been able to support my friends in the way that I wish I could have because I was in it. Now I'm in a quiet season. I'm going to show up for them.
Right.
Right. There was actually a friend at this conference, and she kept saying, "How are you?" And she kept supporting me. And then after our like fourth or fifth interaction at this conference, I was like, "Well, how are you?" And then she shared this like really hard thing that's going on in her life, in her caregiving life, that I had no idea about. And I was like, "Wait, we've talked a whole bunch of times and you kept showing up for me. And I'm so sorry it took me like this many times to like stop and say like, what about you?" Right.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I get it. But like, now I'm like, oh, well, because then I was like, I'm here for you. She's like, well, I'm here for you. And, and so I think that they're all, we don't want anyone. It's not like I'm like, oh, well, now she's in the same bucket. It's more like, oh gosh, now I'm going to be sensitive, because typically it's more of like her reaching out to me and like, I'm here for you. And so in my mind, I'm sort of doing a shift of like, oh, wait, I also now want to make sure this is more of a two-way street.
Mm-hmm.
And that I'm also like, hey, how are you? And how's the thing that you told me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that it's not just like before where she was just sort of like showering me with love and support, you know?
Mm-hmm. So here's a question for you. With us and our friendship, like over the years, there has been a lot of support both ways as we're both going through caregiving, right?
Yeah.
So as I'm no longer in that role as much, does it ever feel like out of balance there, where it's like, I'm here to support you as you go through your caregiving, but I don't have that for you to support me in? Or other relationships like that? Does that ever, when you feel like you've been kind of left in the group and other people have moved on or are no longer in that role?
I don't think because I would hope that, you know, like the other day you were like, oh, I had a hard day at work or whatever. You know what I mean? I would hope that like there's other things that I can be doing to support you. And so I think that doesn't feel to me like a miss.
Okay.
I would wonder, and I don't feel like this, but I could see how if, because you and I text all the time, right? And if you were like, I'm on a boat looking at a bird, right?
Yeah. Which I have done.
Which you have done. And I love seeing that. Right. So keep doing it.
Yeah.
But I can imagine that for some people, not me, but for some people, it would be like, cool, Justin, so glad you're on a boat looking at a bird. Yeah. I'm in the hospital. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think that that is a thing. If you're listening and you're in a smoother moment, to be sensitive to.
Right.
And I think it's, you know, you don't want to go too far because like I want to see your bird. Like that brings me joy to see that you're doing this thing and whatever. And so maybe even to check in with someone. I was talking to someone the other day who she had like a late term pregnancy loss.
Okay.
And I was asking her for advice because somebody else I knew also just had that happen. And one of the things that she said that I think we can apply here is like, don't assume that I don't want to know about pregnancy announcements, that I don't want to go to showers, that I don't want to whatever, but also don't assume that I do.
Yeah. Right.
Ask. And so just check in. And she said and also check in each time. Like, don't like ask me once and then never invite me to a shower ever again. But to say like, hey, you know, so-and-so just found out that they're pregnant. Do you want to be on the group chat where we are talking about that? Or would you rather be not, you know? Yeah. So same thing. Like, let's say you're like, I'm about to go off on a Hawaiian adventure, you know, and you're about to be in the hospital. Like it could be sensitive for you to say, hey, how much of this do you want to see? You know, would it bring you joy to see this or would it bring you, you know, some angst?
Right.
You know,
I think that's great to check in that way. And I think also as the person, I guess, in my position here is to be sensitive to the avenue with which you're sharing the information too. Like, you know, a text to you is one thing, but if we had like if we had some sort of like online group that had like a bunch of caregivers in it, like that maybe where it feels like that's not the tone of the space.
Yes, totally.
To, kind of, you got to read the room there for sure.
Yeah.
But I like what you said about checking in, and that's just good communication with your friend. And being, this thing is happening. What do you want to know about it? That's a great little conversation to have. Yeah. And I think if you're actually good friends, like they will want to help, support, accommodate you. Because I don't know if it feels the other way. Like, do you always want to be sharing the stuff that's like gonna feel like you're, you know, bringing your friend down with like, you always got the doom and gloom and right. Yeah,
totally. Because it could be that you're in your living a great life moment and you're like, oh, I'm feeling great until I get Allison's text and now I'm depressed. Right. Or, you know, like I have when we had our bereavement focus group, there was a woman, a friend of mine who attended and said, after my mom passed away, I had to like unfollow the negative space for a year. And she's like, I just couldn't have the caregiving stuff, you know, like in my face, in my feed, in my whatever. And I was like, great. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Do it, you know? And I didn't in any way feel And even if it was, the negative space is like a nonprofit, a business. But even if she had been like, I needed to unfollow your account, your personal account, Allison, because I couldn't see pictures of Sean in the hospital after that, I would not have felt.
No.
Some people may have had some feelings about that. I personally would have been like, good for you to take care of that situation and to, to do what you needed to do in that moment. And I knew that didn't mean that she loved me any less.
Right.
She just was like, I can't see the triggers. Like, yep, get it, got it,
Totally.
Like there's times that people have like invited me to their like Caring Bridge, like let's get all the updates. And sometimes I'm like, I don't think I can.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's okay. It's also, I'll play devil's advocate for a second because I can hear the person on the other end going, well, it's cool that you get the option to not click on this. Like it's my life and I don't have the option. Right.
Right.
I have to keep going. That is true. You're right. And that stinks. And the rest of us also have our hard things and have to sort of do what we got to do to get through.
To keep going. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. This shows up sometimes in our support groups as well.
Okay. Yeah.
That there are people who are like, oh, my stuff is not as hard as some of the people here. Like, am I even supposed to be here?
Right.
Am I even allowed to like take up airspace by asking a question?
Right.
Is it, and it's like,
how do the people who are in very intense caregiving situations, what's their reaction to the people in those, like questioning if they're in a position to like, to say something?
Yeah. I mean, everybody's always like, oh, we're all in it. Because there's nobody who comes to these support groups who's like, my person has a broken finger.
Right. Yeah.
Everything's terrible. They'll be out of the cast in a week. You know what I mean? Like that is not when people are showing up. And so it's all something, it's all like some kind of chronic illness or some sort of this or some sort of that. And so people are always like, no, you're here. Like it's all its own ranges of hard.
Yeah.
And, like even the one when we talked about the crisis, after the crisis.
Yeah.
There were a number of people who were like, well, I don't really have crises. But then in the next breath, we're like, I mean, when we were at the ER last week, and so I think that we can, again, like our reality becomes so skewed that like a Tuesday, like the best possible Tuesday for any of us would be like the worst possible day, So I think there's that piece as well. And I think that I don't want people to ever feel like they can't get support or have that community just because their season is different. And I know too, I don't know if this is happening for you. I'd like to hear your thoughts, but like sometimes people have said like either after their person passes or when they are in a quiet season, that's sometimes when they are able to reflect. They actually prefer coming to the support group in those times because they're not so acutely in it. So they can process the topics and they can like reflect back and feel the feelings. Whereas like when they're in it, they're just sort of like in go mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can relate to that in the sense that I can hear now from where I sit, look back at the years when Sarah was in bed, and it's just like shocking to me that that's what we were going through. And it was just, that was our day to day. And it wasn't like we were freaking out each day that like this was the situation. I mean, certainly we were not doing great, but it was like, yeah, this is our life. And it was like that for years. And when you are no longer like in that intense of a situation, you see that that's really not normal where we were, right? And we knew it wasn't, but it's just the extent to which that is so different from the typical lived experience. That's can be sometimes like really a lot to take in. And like, I think a lot about, I don't know like how we kept going through that. It was a lot to experience, a lot to live through. And, how I had the energy to be doing some of the research I was doing, to start figuring out how to find a solution, how to try to find improvement, and how I was working full time through that. I do not understand from where I am now, because I think I must have had more energy then, because I do not feel like I could do that now.
But you would. Do you
but
know
I
what
would.
I mean?
Yeah,
Like
exactly. I would.
Well, and I'm not saying you would as in like you would you could choose it or not choose it. Like I'm saying like you just would. I mean, any of the stuff people like, how do you do it? I don't. We just have to. We just do it, and like our bodies are pretty amazing that we're still moving through it. But like your body would figure it out if tomorrow suddenly, God forbid that like you were back in that moment, you would just do it.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like we talked about last time about how we, you are older now, right?
Yeah,
than
right.
you were at that point. And you've been through a bunch now. And so like you would also maybe go into it less optimally, right? Than you went into it originally.
That's certainly true. Yeah. And I also I certainly hope that as I am now kind of in this non-caregiving space, that I am more sensitive to the people around me that still are, in the sense that like I know than if I had not ever gone through that, right?
Yeah.
I can know that their day-to-day is not easy, is not simple, is complicated in physically, emotionally, all of the ways, right? And so I would hope that I'm able to be sensitive in our friendship, with other people as well, that to not make you feel like I'm taking off and flying off somewhere and just doing great, leaving you behind. Right.
No, I think that your sensitivity is one of your superpowers. So I think that you're great at that. So I hear you saying a couple of times, like, I'm in a non-caregiving space. Do you really believe that? I mean, again, like if you, in comparison to however many years ago, but in comparison to your next door neighbor, like, do you really consider yourself like not a caregiver in this moment?
I do. I think that is correct.
Wait, which part?
That I do not feel like a caregiver right now.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I think it's been that way for a bit.
Yeah.
Sarah's doing the laundry now. She's, cooking once a week. She's doing just so much. She's driving, doing her own errands. Like there's not the only like medical thing that I do. Like if we're going to an appointment in Bellingham, I'll go with her just because she doesn't want to drive to Bellingham on her own. Yeah. But I fill our pills every week still. Like, but I'm doing, I do hers, I do mine, I do the dogs. So, so it's, that's kind of what's left. And certainly there are days where she is very fatigued and spends a lot of the day in bed or doesn't have energy to do stuff. And I then, pick up the tasks that she would be doing otherwise, but it doesn't have that same, I don't know. She's just much more independent.
Yeah.
To where it, feels strange, but it feels good to not have that label, I guess. Because for so long that was something like I was her caregiver. Like that was, how I was a role and identity that I had.
Yeah.
And when those things shift, can take some adjustment. But the fact that if that is how I feel that I am, that means things are going much better with her. And so I'll take that for sure.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. I just want to say that, so for you, you said it feels kind of good to like take that label off.
Yeah.
And what I want to say is that for some people, I think that they too quickly are like, well, I guess I'm just not. And then, and I think when you take the label off, then sometimes you're like, well, now I'm no longer in the club. Right. But I still, you know what I mean? And so there could be, because even if like she's doing the laundry and she's doing the whatever, I wonder about, your attunement to her and paying attention to like, is she fatigued? Is she this? Right. And so I'm not saying put the label back on. I just want to give the space to others who are like, wait, my life sounds like his, but I still feel like I'm a caregiver. That like, there's no like right or wrong, perfect. But it's just, I think that we want to like, whatever is going to feel good to you. Yeah. If it feels good to you to be like, I'm not doing that right now. Right. Yeah. But if you're like, I still feel like my nervous system is like watching and waiting, even if I'm not doing tasky things, then great. If you still want to call yourself a caregiver, you're still calling yourself a caregiver. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it can go whatever most benefits you. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think with that, what's been really beautiful is, as she has improved, there's been more space for us to focus on like some stuff with me, right? With whether through my like mental health stuff and all that, and her being able to show up for me, and support me through that has been an adjustment sometimes, certainly, to be like, wait, I'm the one receiving care in the sense that like you're doing things for me, you're telling me to not do things, and you're going to pick up the slack. Like it's a shift of the dynamic, and it's like a little bit of an adjustment, but it also can feel really great to be on the other side of that care.
100%. And I wonder, I bet it feels great for her.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. We had recently, our daughter had a minor procedure, and Sean was like, I would like to go along too to the hospital. And then afterwards he was like, it felt really great that I got to be, like, I got to be in the caregiver chair, and I got to support too. And so, I think it can be good both ways.
Right.
Something I'm realizing is that I think that the reason that the difference in our two stories at this moment struck me so much is because of this like bi-weekly check-in.
Right.
Like, I feel like if we were just like still cruising along and texting each other all the time, it wouldn't have felt so like stark.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I think it's because every other week at 9:00 we say, how are things in your life?
Yeah, right.
How are things in your life? Right. That it almost feels like this like tally or this like thing.
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like how many weeks? Because, I've said this multiple times of like, wow, Justin, a bunch of weeks in a row you've said, and I am sincerely happy. But it was like last time that I was suddenly like, oh my gosh, like
I have the tally here. Do you want to look at it?
Yeah. The engineering has the data, right?
Yeah, right.
And so I think that's part of it, right? And so as you think about, or as people think about that piece that maybe it's that, like, is it if you're like have coffee with a friend or if you like text, because I think about my other caregiving friends, and if we're just like texting each other and we're just like moving through the space, it doesn't feel quite as like status check-in moment.
Right. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas I think this podcast like gives us like has put a structure to that. And I think that's what made it feel a little like, whoa.
Yeah. I get that.
And I think also I'm remembering that it was last time when you said something like, I'm planning a trip for next summer.
Right. Yes.
And I was like, I can't plan tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I think, again, like how can we just to put that out there? And I think in good friendships like ours, we can say, whew, it feels hard for me to know that you're living a life where you can plan a trip for next summer. And that is not my reality. And I'm very, very happy for you that you're going to go on a trip. You know what I mean? Because I am, right? So I think that I want to make sure that, in our relationships, yours and mine, but also like people listening, how can we have the yes and, right? Because I certainly don't want you to stop sharing joyful things.
Right.
And, how can we, be sensitive and kind of like we said before with the check-in or whatever.
Right. And I, certainly want you to feel the freedom to say, I know you're doing this fun thing right now. I am not in that place. Like, don't share it with me right now. I don't know. Right. You say it more tactfully than that. Yes. But I think that I would hope that you feel comfortable to kind of redirect
for sure
some of that if need be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the other space, I have some non-caregiving friends that I have sensed, and it's hard to know, like, is this just me being overly sensitive or whatever, but I have sensed that because I've been doing this for a long time, right? And sometimes I'm like, are they done with me?
Yeah.
Like a friend that I'm like, I can tell that she is no longer has capacity for me to text with the like, here's the next disaster. Right. And I should really just have the conversation and be like, I feel like you don't have this capacity. But instead, what I've done is sort of just like, okay, I'll talk to you about fluffy things, Yeah. But that I will just say feels really hard sometimes. That, and again, it could all be in my head, and I should just have the conversation. But it can feel like, oh man, my life is too much for you. Like it's too stressful for you to hear. Like, that's hard.
Yeah.
To feel like I'm too much or my life is too much, So that's why it's nice. I have a lot of people so I can spread it out.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Give that person a break from the hard things for a while and like tell somebody else. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think too, that can be why it's nice to have a therapist, a caregiver coach, or whatever, a person who like, it's literally their job to listen to your hard things. And so you can't be like, oh, am I overburdening them? Too bad. It's their job,
Yep.
So, yeah.
No, that's good. Yeah. I mean, relationships, friendships, they're hard. Interpersonal communication can be hard. And yeah, I think you just got to talk to your friends. Let them know what you need. Ask them if they need something different from you. Just be open. And if you need to have a conversation with someone, the longer you put it off, I'll say from my experience, the longer you put it off, like you're going to be stressed and anxious and just building it up into this enormous thing in your mind.
Right.
And most of the time, it can be very straightforward when you actually work up the courage to do it. So, that's certainly easier said than done. And I certainly understand that as someone who sometimes intense anxiety to deal with. But yeah, I think it's communication is what it comes down to. And I think that if you have a friendship that has been like built in you both going through something like caregiving, you've got a really good foundation for that friendship, I think.
Yeah.
And so I would hope that that's a place where you can both feel like you can be honest with each other about what it is that you need, what would be helpful, what is not helpful, and how you can both continue to support each other.
Yep. Because I can really see it going both ways. Somebody just said to me the other day about secondary trauma. So it's sort of like trauma dumping, right? So like, let's say I am in a really good spot and then somebody's like not in a good spot. And let's say they are having something like a bone marrow transplant that Sean's gone through. And then they're texting me all the time, we're at this transplant. Like that could like be secondary trauma for me, right? Of supporting them. And so I think
because you've gone through that
because I've gone through it.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And so thinking about that piece too, like if you're the one and, and you're like, ooh, we are in this club together, but right now I can't be the person to be supporting all of these pieces. You know what I mean? To be able to say that too.
Right. And to let yourself feel that and know that that is okay.
Yeah.
It is okay for you to not show up every single second for every single person. Like, you have to mend to yourself as well. Or tend to yourself as well.
Yeah.
And mend yourself when you're, right? I mean, both are important. Yeah.
Right. Well, and also for me to not be like, I'm a terrible person because I have feelings about the fact that my friend is doing really well. Right.
Yeah.
Like I can be happy for him and it can make me feel certain ways.
Right.
And both of those can be true.
Yep.
So, yeah. I know that some people are listening and are like, well, my friendships are not as healthy as this one that I'm listening to. And I realize that. So, hopefully there are some things that we just talk through that can be helpful in relationships. And, I think you and I are both like highly attuned to each other and to conversational skills, all like you said, interpersonal communication. And not everybody is, right? And so, just know that like that's why sometimes like having a totally objective person like a therapist can be really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, they can come at it from that objective angle
and help you like coach you through the situation.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Totally. What about supporters?
That's a good question, because this is very much like caregivers being friends with caregivers.
Right. I have an idea if you're one.
Okay. If you've got an idea, let's start with that.
I mean, I think about like, what if I said to my mom, who knows you as well, and what if I said something like, Justin's doing so great and he doesn't even consider himself a caregiver anymore, and like he's planning this trip and that for her as a supporter of me, to know, like, instead of just being like, wow, I'm really happy for your friend, to note and say, I'm really happy for your friend. And I wonder,
how does that make you feel?
What does that feel like for you? How does that land for you that you and he are in such different situations right now.
Yep.
Same if, like, let's say that I say to, we'll just say my mom again, she's the best.
Yeah.
That if I said, oh man, I just connected with somebody and their husband is going through a bone marrow transplant and they're texting me every day and and I'm supporting them.
Yep.
That I would hope that my mom or whoever could say to me, oh, that is really kind of you that you're supporting them in that way. And I wonder, do you have capacity for that right now? Like, how is that feeling for you to be like hearing about those things and reliving that in this moment? You know what I mean? So again, like, it's sort of the outsider perspective is what we want from our supporters, to be able to, have them reflect back on us of like, how is what you just shared with me feeling for you?
Right. Yeah. No,
and to give us permission either way.
Yeah, I think that's great right there, is just know that there are these dynamics and to be sensitive and aware with, the conversations you have with your caregiver friends who are you're supporting, and how to, I think, ask those questions about how things land, what you have capacity for, and just be there also as a listening ear for them to talk about why certain situations can be hard with friends and other. Yep.
And I think even like as a supporter, to be sensitive to what you're like maybe reporting to your person. So if my mom was like, hey, I just heard that this other person is doing so great.
Yeah. Right.
Or, hey, did you hear that this other person has this terrible thing? Right. Like, I think we're always trying to make commonalities and common connections. And so it's like, of course I want to tell my caregiving person this story about this other person who's going through a caregiving thing, but to recognize sort of the complexity behind that.
Yeah. That's great.
Either way. And so maybe don't share the story at all, or maybe share the story, but with some caveats, or some like sensitivities. So yeah.
Good.
I'm so glad that we could have this conversation.
Yeah. I think this was a good conversation to have.
Helpful to others. And I'm just going to say again, number one, I'm very happy that things are going well with Sarah and with you. And number two, I plan to be friends with you forever.
Yeah. No,
so
that sounds good.
You're stuck with me. So yeah. Number three, I want to share again is that very soon you and I are going to be in a room together recording the podcast live. Amazing. Which we've never done. You're flying to Minneapolis for the Caregiver Con, which is November 1st.
Yep.
And we're going to do a live recording of the In Sickness podcast. So exciting.
So exciting.
Super exciting also for our non-Minnesota listeners. We have just added a live stream option.
Oh, wow.
So you can watch from anywhere, which is amazing.
And that's any of the sessions in the whole conference?
So it's any of the sessions that are in the main
space. Okay.
So the keynote, the podcast, and then one of each of the breakout sessions. And so throughout the whole day, there will be things that are streamed. But some of the breakout sessions are small or like not good for live streaming. So, So go to caregivercon.com.
Okay.
And register. And when you register, there is an option for the live stream. And so if you sign up for that, then you'll get the Zoom link.
Cool.
And you can be hanging out with us.
Awesome.
Which is so fun because we know that in caregiving life, travel is often not an option. Even if you live in Minneapolis, leaving your house is not always an option. Also with that, if you are local, you can come and go throughout the day. Yeah, for sure. It's not like you have to be showing up at the beginning and staying till the end. We get it. Yeah. But we are going to have amazing sessions. Jessica Kim, who was on at one point, is our keynote speaker. Rodolfo, who was on at one point, is our MC.
Lovely.
Priscilla, look at a lot of our guests. Priscilla is going to do a thing. Jacqueline is going to do a thing.
Wow.
Yes, we're getting the gang back together.
That's fun.
So it's going to be amazing. We're going to have therapy dogs.
Oh.
Free breakfast, lunch, happy hour. Optional happy hour afterwards. Free massages. We're going to have some health screening kits. Lots of vendors. It's going to be so great.
Cool. I'm excited.
I'm so excited you're coming.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be great. So caregivercon.com, November 1st, sign up for either live or live stream. And we're also going to record things. I mean, obviously we'll record the podcast, but record those main sessions.
Okay.
So again, if caregiving life is a thing and you can't be there in person or live stream, you can watch some of them later.
Good.
So yes, it'll be so great to be together.
It'll be a great time. Yeah.
It will be great. So, all right, my friend, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Bye. You've been listening to In Sickness. Find us online at insickness.care or on Instagram at insicknesspodcast. You can send your questions and comments to hosts@insickness.care. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with a friend or fellow caregiver. Thanks for listening and take care.